Latoya and Elijah. She had discovered him having sex in her home, something she had repeatedly warned him not to do. Latoya demanded he gather his belongings and leave. The confrontation escalated and moved outside to the driveway around 12:30 a.m. As Elijah loaded his things into his car, he continued arguing with his mother. Then, from behind the rolled-up passenger window, he pointed a gun and shot her in the chest. Neighbors heard the gunshot and someone called 911. Latoya had laid down clear boundaries. No women, no sex in her home. But Elijah defied those rules. After the shooting, he fled to a nearby hotel with the same woman he had been caught with, resuming what they had started before being interrupted, only to be apprehended by police shortly after. Family, friends, and bandmates were left in shock and mourning. While they were aware of the strained relationship between mother and son, no one believed it would end in tragedy. A hotel in 4 Mile Fork. An investigation revealed that the fatal altercation stemmed from an argument between Latoya and Elijah. She had discovered him having sex in her home, something she had repeatedly warned him not to do. Latoya demanded he gather his belongings and leave. The confrontation escalated and moved outside.
Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Hawashai Bashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect. Noise in this gospel, brother, lifting up the standard of Yahweh Bashim Hawashai wherever it may be. Hold on, give me 1 second. Due to sex. See what I can find this article real quick. Hold on, Salakia. See if we can find it. I can't find it. I don't want to take too long. But anyway, as we saw the brief video here, it says popular singer. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do this. Black girl unlost. Let's do this. Let's go on YouTube real quick. My phone running a little slow. I think it's a signal. Black girl. What's it called? Black girl unlost. You black women, man, are losing, bro. Y'all just getting unalive every which way. Basically a story of basically a judgment going on these black women. And allegedly this dude shot his mother in the chest because he had sex in her house. And she didn't like it. So basically, you know, he blew her ass away. Now, you can understand, you know, the dynamic between, because see, you have what they call son husbands. And I don't know how old the guy was, but obviously, you know, he was old enough for him to drive a vehicle and leave and go to a hotel. So the dude could have been maybe late teens, early 20s. I don't know. I didn't do too much research on the topic, but this explained enough. But basically, he shot his mother because I guess she was pestering him about bringing women in the house. And that's a dumb reason to be put to death over, man. I mean, especially in today's age, you got these kids. They're very unhinged because of the dynamic between the parents and the sons and so forth. So what happened was, and you could quite imagine how it went, you know, probably try to emasculate the dude, which I'm not saying what he did was right. Of course not, you know, you don't put a weapon on your parents. But you can just imagine how it went. You know, he don't have anywhere to go. You know, probably got a job that's not paying enough. And, you know, shit, when Jake wants some box, man, you know, Jake gonna get what he gonna get. Because, you know, Jake men, are, you know, they're highly sexual. We are highly sexual creatures, man. And, you know, Jake like to get his rocks off. But, of course, you got the nagging ass woman. And if this is the guy here, he look like he's about late teens, maybe early 20s. He may be in his 20s, still living with his mother. And, you know, you can just imagine, don't be bringing them bitches in my house. And then, you know, he get caught with a woman in the crib and then she's embarrassed him. She emasculates him. And, you know, that probably fucks up the dynamic between the man and the woman, you know, because the black woman is good for that. She don't like to see her son with other men or other women, Salakia, because deep down inside, she wants to date her son, or she wants to emasculate him, man. You know, and I think that we've all went through this as men, as young men at a point in time. Like, I remember in my late teens, I was probably like 17, 18. I used to go through this shit too, you know, because I wasn't old enough. I didn't have a high enough paying job to afford my own place at the time. And I'm 17 years old, getting ready to get out of high school. And, you know, you may stay with your parents, see, like 20, 21. But eventually I had to get the fuck out of my parents' house, man, because I couldn't deal with it. You know, sometimes she was cool with it, or the woman can come over if she approves of it. But that you don't feel like a man, you know, when you have to abide by the rules of a woman in her house. And granted, that's our house, so that's our rules, you know. Unfortunate as it is, you got to abide by the rules of the house. But black women make shit unbearable, because ain't no way in hell she had to impute this type of law on this boy, man. You know, I mean, if he had the money, I just would have took it to the hotel. I'm like, look, baby, let's go to your place, or shit, get it in the car, because, you know, she's going to make a big deal out of you having sex with women in her house. And the fact about it is, he was leaving out, and the fact that he was able to shoot her in the chest, there had to be some tension in there. Okay, either she was following the dude to the car, probably demeaning him, you know, emasculating him, embarrassing him in front of the chick he was trying to get the squad from. And, you know, he got to the point like, you know what, I had enough of this bitch, and blew her away, man. And like I said, I'm not saying it is okay, but you can imagine the frustration that Jake men go through living under black women's rules, man. It's slavery. And trust me, I know, because when I was a young man in my teens, I went through the same shit. Quick story, man. You know, it was one of the baddest chicks in high school, bro. I kid you not. I think I was 19 at the time. I mean, I've graduated from high school. I was 19, maybe 20 at the time, and I was still staying at the house. You know, no shame in that, because shit, it happens, right? Back and forth. So I'm over there and I'm chilling. So I get this chick. I get her to the crib finally, right? Now, everybody in high school wanted this bitch. So we get to the crib, and, you know, sometimes, you know, she don't be tripping. Like, sometimes, you know, I could bring chicks over there. It just depends on what fucked up mood she's in. So I bring her to the crib, and, you know, we in the bed, we watching the movie. So, you know, I'm Jake getting, you know, we finna get it in. We started making out, and this bitch was bad. And to kid you not, my mother and her boyfriend walked in the door. So I ain't really think nothing of it, because I'm like, she shouldn't be tripping, you know, because I mean, like, you know, I do what I do. Fuck it. And sometimes you just don't want to spend the money on a hotel. You know, I got my own room. I got privacy. Leave me the fuck alone. Just let me get some sex. Damn. Soon as she come in the room, bam, she started tripping. She see the chick in the bed. And, you know, with women, it's a jealousy thing, man. So she seen the chick. She started spazzing out, man. Nah, you got to get the fuck out of here. Her boyfriend looking at her back of my mind. I'm like, you need to put her ass in check, man. She coming in here with all this shit, bro. Like, this ain't the first time she caught a woman in my fucking bed. Like, get the fuck out of here, you know. And she just started spazzing out. So she told me to get out. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's go. So I took shorty, we left. So we go sit in the whip. I was embarrassed, man. I mean, I was embarrassed to the point I wasn't even mad at shorty if she didn't even hit me up again. And after that, I never talked to her again. So back in my mind, I'm like, oh, you feel like you've won? I'm like, you feel better about yourself? You know, I'm just trying to get my rocks off and get some stress relief, because I don't want to deal with this bullshit. And this woman comes in tripping, totally pushes the woman away. So you can quite imagine what this man felt, because the only thing he trying to do is get some pussy. Like, it ain't the end of the world. But of course, you know, the woman, get out of here. You can't be doing that, you motherfucker. You a nigga. Get your ass out of here and get the fuck out my house. Don't be bringing no woman in my house. What's wrong with him bringing a woman in the house to get his rocks off, man? And you could tell you can look at this woman and tell that she wasn't right. I mean, you can look at it and tell. You can tell that she had a spirit of Satan on her. Okay, them glasses. And why I'm not condoning him to unalive his mother, because that's off as hell. Scriptures say, you know, you curse your father and mother, then your days won't be prolonged. So you put her to death. You know, which the frustration and the tensions had to be building up, because in this young man's mind, he's probably like, what the fuck am I doing that's so goddamn bad to the point I can't get a woman over here? You know, then again, you probably should have got a hotel or had sex with in your car, or you should have went back to her place, you know, or get your own place, because that's the only thing that will rectify these differences. Because the black woman, she's pure evil, man. Okay, she hates her sons. She hates her child's father. She hates her father. And you can tell that this woman wasn't no damn saint. And you could tell she's been around the block a couple of times. So, you know, she's been a hypocrite. But nonetheless, hey, this is common among Jake. All right. So anyway, this is the book of Job 14:1. It says, a man that is born of a woman is of a few days and full of trouble. Yeah, a few days, because most Jakes that grew up in a single parent household, most of them don't live to see the age of 30. Okay, they had a synopsis in the Boys of the Hood movie. They said that most young black men won't be alive to see their 21st birthday, or they will be incarcerated, or they will be locked up, or they will be dead. And clearly that's the case, because now she's dead and he's locked up. And I doubt if the dude is 25 years old. He may be a grown-ass man. But even then, if he's a grown man living in your house, then obviously, he needs to get his shit together. But at the same time, man, you still got to respect that man as being a man and let him do what he got to do. I mean, you may don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, when a man reaches a certain age, he becomes over his parent, his mother, right there is. But it says, he cometh forth like a flower and is cut down. He fleeth also as a shadow and continueth not, right? Because, I mean, shit, the age of Jake Mills of incarceration between shit now, you got Jakes getting incarcerated as young as 12 years old, man. Going to juvie, and then when they get out of juvie at the age of 18, they go to the big house and they spend 45 years there. But it's very common that Jake Mills between the ages 18 and 21 will be locked up or dead before their 21st birthday. And there's just another statistic. And that come from living under the black woman, because she doesn't understand on how to navigate a household, because she totally pushes the father away and she rules with her emotions. So if she's having a bad day at work or at the office, or she had a bad day or a bad dream, she would literally wake up and take it out on your ass, man. And that's just the reality of being a so-called black man in this society, especially if your father ain't around, which ultimately goes back to the curses. Because, like, damn, let that man get off. Let him get some squab. I mean, goddamn. It's like you want to sleep with your damn son. But anyway, Proverbs 14, and I'm going to start at 1. It says, every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish pluck it down with her hands. That's right. Because where was the father at? Clearly not in the picture. Because when you understand how these black women and just these women in general operate, you can see why the man don't stick around. Like, I was in a team meeting today, or a division meeting, and my division, my department manager, he's a man, but he works with a bunch of women. But it's a bunch of women. 90% of the women that work in these department, 90% of the people that work in these departments are women. And when you look at the spirit of these women, they're proud, they're combative, they don't know their place. They feel that they have some type of authority over men because they were given these positions. But one thing you women have to understand is that, especially you black women, that you were hired for tax purposes, okay? Because you are considered double minority, because, you get tax breaks for hiring so-called blacks, and then the company gets more breaks for hiring women. So they will educate you and put you through certain curriculums, for one thing, to authoritative you over the man, and second of all, to also save money off your ass, man. And you women have failed to realize that you were used as a tool. Doesn't mean you're more pristine or more savage than a man. No, you just have the opportunity because it was given to you. It wasn't given to the men. And when you understand your place, these things will begin to settle in. But he put her ass to death, man. It says you set boundaries for a grown man / son and get deleted. It says, I don't know which is more tragic. Because, see, that's Keisha. She tries to set boundaries for men. You're not supposed to absorb authority over men, man. It's not your job. Yeah, he was living in your house, but if you were so fucking tired of him living in your crib and the nigga was whatever, then, hey, you should have helped the man get on his feet. There's one thing that you talk shit about men not being anything, but you women have the means to help your men out, and you sit back and you let him fall into the quicksand, man. Make that make sense. Well, you a man. Well, yeah, he's a man with a handicap because the society does not push manhood. And you women know that. But you're a bunch of demons, so therefore you result into adding insult to injury. Not saying that the dude was in the right. He clearly was off as hell. Clearly off. But that doesn't justify you usurping authority over this dude either. All right, 1 Timothy 5. And I'm going to start at verses, 1 Timothy 2. I always get that mixed up. This is the book of 1 Timothy 2. And I'm going to start at verses 12. It says, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. So like I said, yeah, he may have been living in your household, but at the end of the day, you don't have authority over that man. If he wants to bring a woman over there, then you need to bite the bullet and say, you know what, I'm going to give you your space, but still be trying to find your own shit and get the hell out. But then again, we're the only culture that pushes for our family to get the fuck out. Hell, I got put out a day before my high school graduation. I got kicked out the house, man. All because the woman was being a demon. She said, get your shit and get the fuck out. But then she showed up at my graduation the next day. I like, make this shit make sense, man. You know, but we're the only culture that pushes, yeah, you got to get out, get your own shit, which, you know, that's what men do. But if you pay attention to it, hell, Jacob, Isaac, they lived with their father. I mean, Jacob lived with his father until he was like, I think like when he was like 40s or some shit like that. You know, they lived in that parents' household up until 50, 60, 70, 80 years old in biblical times. Hell, in countries around the world like Malaysia, you got women 30, 34 years old that still stay with their families, man. Hell, Issachar even still do it because they understand keeping the wealth within the family. But you black women, your son, you knowing that he don't have the education, you know he don't have the credentials, 17 years old, you put him out the crib, go to school, go to college or get a job, and you expect for this nigga to pay a house mortgage on a McDonald's salary. And then you talk shit about the dude when he don't make the money because you didn't educate him enough. You chose to push him through the system and have him to be educated through the public school system and told the nigga to figure it out. But you didn't give him no life skills, no discipline, no nothing. You know, and shit like this happens, unfortunately. Matthew 24 and 12, it says, and because iniquity should abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Yeah, we're seeing it. You know, people are deleting their parents at an all-time high. Like I was doing some research and they stated this time and day and age is that the tensions between parents and kids is at an all-time high, man, because that's part of the prophecy. Okay, we're living in perilous times, man. Everybody hates each other. Nobody wants to deal with each other, man. And everybody is ripping each other off. That's part of the prophecy. Peep this. Matthew 10 and 34, right? And it reads, it says, think not I come to send peace on earth. It says, I come not to send peace, but a sword. It says, for I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and daughter against her mother, and daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foe should be they of his own household. And that's right. Okay, you have more skirmishes with people in your family than you do on the damn street. Like, I can honestly admit that people that I've grown up with, as far as family, have given me more problems than a stranger on the street, man. I've been stolen from, I've been attacked, I've been fucking lied to. You know what I'm saying? I've been, you know, just all these things. We all been through it. From people that call themselves family. You know, been put out, been stolen from, you know, ripped off, lied to, yelled at, cursed at, ridiculed, you know. Tried to emasculate me, all types of shit. Until you say enough is enough. But it says, for I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. And that's what it boils down to, man. All right, so yeah, we're living in them times. One more precept and I end it. Deuteronomy 28 and 56. And we all know this scripture. This is part of the curses. Because I can guarantee you the reason why she didn't want that man dealing with women is because she probably wanted to deal with him, or she probably hated the father, or she just couldn't accept the fact that he was trying to be a man, you know. And when black women see that men have some type of charismatic personality where they have some type of pep in their step, what they would do, they would try to emasculate them, man, so other women wouldn't look at them. All because they want power. It goes back to the garden. They just want power over the men. And then you may ask the question like, well, wait a minute, why can't I do it? She may say, well, because I said so. Well, that's not a reason. Give me a reason why you don't want a woman over here. And usually it's because it's some eternalized shit she done conjured up in her mind. Well, you know, she ain't finna take my son from me, or she ain't finna do this, or she look better than me, or whatever the fuck it is. And this is why a lot of you getting ready to be put back in your place, man, and I can't wait. But Deuteronomy 28, and I'm going to start at verses 56. It says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes should be evil towards the husband of our bosom, and towards our son, and towards our daughter. And that's where it goes down at, all right? So with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you will edify until the next lesson. Shalom.